See how it's like the opposite. Check means evacuated. Okay. So it's like opposite of the disabled.
Yes.
Right, right.
All right, Bruce, we're good.
All right, call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. And all rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alicia, can you do a roll call, please?
Yep. Steve Dagalow.
Here.
Corey Miller.
Here.
Ian McDonald.
Here.
Lori Blargen. Here. Bruce Blargen.
Here.
Danny Erickson.
Here.
Matt Fugalt.
Here.
Okay, sorry.
All right, district mission, together we engage, educate, and empower all learners, bridging their passions and pathways, create successful futures, and positively contribute to our local and global communities. Below we have the core values and all the protocol reminders. Whenever anybody's ready, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Public comment, Dave?
Received none?
Okay, I didn't get any. Guessing Matt didn't get any either. All right.
I did not.
All right, sounds good. Next item, Spartan Spotlight, Tasia and crew.
Yeah, so come on up. So we have Tasia and Anna, Devin and Emma, and this is an exciting spotlight. So I don't know who was able to be there, but we had a couple of weeks ago, there was the cheer and dance and stunt spotlight, and it was, or showcase rather, and it was amazing. It was a great night. The level of excitement and the level of expertise was amazing. My wife and I were there, and my wife, having a history in this world, was amazed, especially with the youngest kids and how much they were learning. That's not something that just happens. It takes leadership and a lot of dedication, and we thought we have to get these folks here to spotlight the work they're doing. So not only an active program, but a growing program. One of the comments I made was it's clear that we are going to be set for several years to come with the enthusiasm and excitement at the lower levels. Anyone that's worked in coaching athletics, you know that you build a program young kids up. You know, you can't just turn around and start at the high school level. You have to start with the younger kids, and they are certainly doing that. We talked, as Bruce was reading the portion of the strategic vision, the idea of passions to pathways. This is such a good example of that, of tying into student passions, finding something that they love about school. We say this a lot. We want every kid to have something where they're super excited to come to school because of whatever that thing is. For some kids, it's just class is enough. For other kids, they need something additional. For a lot of kids, it's both of those things. And we want kids excited, and it takes leaders to do that. And I'll invite them up to share about their program.
There is a clicker in there too, like flip it on the side. There's like an up, yep. There we
Oh,
go.
turn it on. That'd be helpful. Just a little. Got it. There we go.
Perfect.
All right. Well, hi. I'm Devin McDermott. I am the head coach of the dance team. My assistant coach is Emma Handrahan. I took over the dance program. This is my second year with them. Came in from Minnesota with lots of years under my belt. So we are identified as an activity, but they are true athletes. They train very, very hard. I actually have two of my dance team parents right here. So we are a varsity level activity for kids in grades 9 through 12. This year I have 8 kids on my team. That is double in size from last year. Last year I had 4 kids on my team. I graduated 1 senior last year, and all 3 of my kids that were eligible, who did not graduate, returned this year. So this year I have 1 junior, 2 sophomores, and 5 freshmen. I have no seniors this year. So very lucky for that. All of my kids are extremely involved in school outside of dance team. They're in choir, or band, or color guard, or show choir, cross country. Most of them are in the Little Mermaid that's coming up. So if you see tap dancing seagulls, those are mine. Or they're in track and field. These kids work super, super hard. So again, we are identified as an activity. But they pay the athletic fees, they pay them for fall and winter. I treat them as athletes because that's exactly what they are. We have tryouts in the spring, and so ever since April of this year, these kids have been working towards what is now our competition season. So we started off our year with our summer training. We have dance camp, and during the summer we learn our fall performance routines and the winter competition routines. During the fall we perform at football games. I'll get into that in just a little bit. And during the winter, so right now we have active competitions. So all summer long these kids were at practice up here on campus 3 days per week. They're working on technique, different skills, different strength. Most of my team was in Spartan strength this summer, so they were working on the strength that they need to have to execute all the skills that we need to do to be successful. So during the fall season, that's our big performance season. It's also when we focus on sharpening our performance skills and we really get out into the community. We dance at all home varsity football games. This year we had a really cool opportunity to dance with the University of Minnesota dance team during their high school band cheer and dance day. So they were right on the sidelines at Huntington Bank Stadium. We danced in the Homecoming All District Pep Fest, the parade, and the high school Pep Fest. We danced at the PAC grand opening this past fall. We have a youth clinic for grades JK4 so that we can teach the younger ones how to dance and how to get involved. We also held our second annual trunk or treat event this year, which is just community-based, just a way to get ourselves out into the community. We are also in our second year of performing in the Haunted Hayride, so if you saw some zombies dancing to Thriller, that was my kids. So, lots of fun. We are in our winter competition season right now. We had our second competition of the season just 2 days ago. So this is the main portion of our season, and that's what we spend all season long from spring, summer, fall training for. We learned our routines this summer. We've been working on them for months. And our first competition was on December 6th. So we compete in the kick, jazz, and pom categories as a team. There is also a solo and ensemble category. I have 3 soloists this year. Ellie Formo is my junior, Ellen Knudsen is one of my sophomores, and Elsie Nolner is my other sophomore. These are their mothers. They're not here right now because they're at piano and at studio dance. So, but they work very, very hard. We got practice 4 days a week now. Practice space kind of matches up because, of course, we compete on gym floor, and basketball also happens during the winter. So Mr. Wink has been awesome in advocating for us to get the space that we need to properly train safely. We've been going off campus a lot at local studios, so that's been very, very helpful to us. We're very thankful to them. Last weekend we were in Menominee. We got first place in kick, second in jazz, fourth place in pom. We were in the top half of all of our competitors. This past Saturday we were at Eau Claire. We got second place in kick, fourth place in jazz, fifth place in pom. Up next we have our conference championships. That'll be in New Richmond, so if you feel like stopping by, we'd love to see you. Regionals is what determines who goes to state. So that is middle of state in Wausau. If we make it to the state level, we go to the state tournament in La Crosse. Last year, Ellen Knudsen advanced to state as a freshman, and I learned later that she was the only freshman in our division to advance. So that was very, very cool. So yeah, those are my kids. I'd hand that over to you. Oh, by the way. Again, we already had Menominee and Eau Claire. We're at New Richmond next, DCF versus regionals, and again we'll be, hopefully, at state in La Crosse in February. So knock on wood, wish us luck.
All right, my name is Tasia Berger, and this is Anna Johnson, and we're 2 of the coaches for our cheer program here in Somerset. We are proud to have a K-12 program, and this year we have 65 athletes between all of our teams, and we split them into 5 teams, a lot of times based on age level and or skill. So Anna and I primarily focus on the high school team and the middle school level teams, and then we have other coaches who come in and help us with our youth elementary teams. So when I started coaching here 10 years ago, well, this is my 11th season in Somerset, we had just varsity football cheerleading, and there was 10 athletes. And I quickly recognized that we needed to expand into youth to get them exposure, because we don't have cheer studios where they're learning when they're 3 years old how to be cheerleaders. We have to do that ourselves. So we started our middle school level program in 2017 and our elementary in 2021. The youth program is an independent club and not formally part of district programming, but the district has been great in recognizing our kids and what they do, and we're very thankful for that. And right now our youth program is just a competitive cheer team. We don't cheer sideline at the youth level. Eventually maybe, that's a pipe dream, but right now we just focus on the competitive piece. And all of our competitive teams, we compete primarily in the Twin Cities area due to proximity. Most of the cheer competitions held in Wisconsin are on the eastern side of the state. And so to make it more affordable and accessible for our kids and our families, we compete in the Twin Cities so that that's not an extra burden for them. When we're competing in the Twin Cities, the divisions are not split by school size. So a lot of times we're competing against teams from Prior Lake and Farmington and White Bear Lake. And as you'll see later on, we do pretty good keeping up with those big schools, which is not an easy task. So our youngest athletes are in our elementary age level, and we have two teams. One is a performance exhibition team, and one is an actual competitive team that competes against other teams around the area. The primary focus of the elementary age is to introduce students to cheer that's in a fun, appropriate way, while still getting some of those little ones that want that competitive aspect an opportunity to do so. This year, they also participated in the Pea Soup Days parade with us and our middle school and high school athletes, which they love. They love the big kids, the big cheerleaders, way more than they love us. So any opportunity we have to get them involved with our middle school and high school athletes, we take advantage of, because it not only builds the leadership skills of those older athletes, but it's a lot more exciting than us, because we're like moms. And they don't love us as much as they love those older cheerleaders. So, we have two teams. The performance team, exhibition team, is primarily made up of our youngest athletes. Kindergarten and first grade was the primary age of that team, and they performed twice. Once at a competition, just as a performance team, they weren't competing, and then once at our showcase. And then we have our competitive team, which is our red squad. They're the ones that are in the red uniform there. And they were a competitive team, so they were competing against other teams at local competitions, and you can see their placements there. They started their practices in the fall, and they concluded their season actually this past weekend at the University of Minnesota, where they placed second, and we just found out like an hour ago that they were a quarter point away from first, which would have been such a nice end to the season, but still an amazing feat for them, and they've improved a lot. And it's not easy to get little girls, little kids to do those skills. It's a lot of trust and a lot of work for 6, 7, 8-year-olds to lift other 6, 7, 8-year-olds in the air and do it safely. All right, and then we have our middle school program. And we also have two teams offered at the middle school level. One does a traditional competitive routine with stunts and jumps and all tumbling and all of that, and then the other is a game day team, which primarily focuses on elements that you would see on a sideline but put in a competitive setting. Their summer training began early in June, where they practiced twice a week, and then we attended a UCA camp with other middle school level cheer teams. It was held at Eastridge High School, and we had some great accomplishments there, placing first in some of the camp competitions that they had. And then we also had 4 athletes recognized as All-American, which kind of represents the top 10% of athletes at camp. So they had to get up in front of camp and perform a dance, a cheer, and a jump all by themselves, and were judged by the camp instructors. And we had 4 girls recognized as All-American, which was great to see, because that's a lot of bravery for them at that age to get up in front of peers and try out in front of a group of probably, 150 other middle schoolers. So whether they get it or not, we're always so proud of the girls who go out and try out, because that builds confidence and all of that on top of getting that recognition. They also had the routine choreography in the summer, so much like dance, they're practicing all year long for the competitive season coming up. In the fall, they had the opportunity to perform at the All-District Pep Fest, so they faced the elementary and middle school side of the gym, and then our varsity team faced the high school side, which was really cool. And then they also did the parade for homecoming and the PAC grand opening, and we joined with the high school team, and they performed kind of a dual routine. We're now in the midst of our competitive season as well, so you can see our results there so far. We've had a couple first place finishes, which is awesome. And just this past weekend at the U of M, both teams competed, and both walked away with first place. So that was a great way to end our regular season, and we will end next month in January going to the WACPC State Championship. And our high school team, they cheer, sideline, and competition. So in the fall and the summer, we did the Peace Soup Days parade. We're at all the home football games. And then when and if the football team makes it to playoffs, we always travel with them as well for those games. We're a part of the All District Pep Fest parade and high school Pep Fest and the PAC Grand Opening. And then we also have a youth clinic for grades JK through 8. We had a great turnout for that this year, and that's always fun to get them out on the sidelines. They cheered in the first and second quarter of the game alongside the varsity girls. This year it was freezing and pouring rain for that entire time they were out there, and then of course at halftime it stopped raining. But they were all troopers. They were freezing, but they were having the time of their life, so I guess that's all that matters. And then in the winter we cheer most home basketball games, and then we compete. Our competitive season this year will start in January, and then we will also attempt to go to state with that competition in February. And if we do that, that will be our 9th season in a row qualifying for state, so knock on wood, we hope that that can occur. And then I didn't get a chance to come here after our season last year, so I just wanted to highlight that we did take home our 4th state championship in 5 years. That's not a humble brag, but I'd just like to point it out because they worked really hard for it. And we were state runners up in our game day, so came in the top 2 in both routines, which was fantastic. All right, and then as Dr. Grambo mentioned, a couple weeks ago we held our annual showcase. This was our 4th year of doing the event. And it is always our favorite time of the year because we get to be the stars of the show. Cheer and dance are habitually seen as like the sideline or the accessory to the main sporting event. And most people don't know the aspects of the competitive pieces of each of our sports. So a few years back, I wanted to give our program a chance to showcase that on our home turf because it just realistically, anyone but our cheer families and our dance families are not traveling to our competitions to watch us because they have to travel far to do that, and that's just not realistic. So we wanted an opportunity to do that on our home turf and invite more people from the community to have an opportunity to come and watch us. I wanted to include dance in that because we are different sports, but we are one and the same. Our goals are the same, and all of our kids work so hard, and I want to be able to spotlight that. So dance comes, and then the pep band comes and plays in between performances at the start of our event and all of that. So it's a great night of all of the spirit program together and showcasing the athletes and the musicians. The last couple years too, we've done a staff appreciation portion of the event, which the athletes all get to invite a staff member from the district to attend, someone they want to cheer for. And then we invite them out on the mat to introduce them, and the athletes give them a handwritten card and a flower to thank them for coming to see them. The kids love to see their teachers up in the stands, and I think it's really great. We have so many teachers that come to support the athletes, so then they can tie that back into their classroom and say, hey, good job, great job cheering, and all that stuff. So we love that the staff comes and supports our athletes at our event. And then we also use it as a senior recognition because, again, this is kind of our only home event for ourselves. So we take the time to honor our seniors at that event as well. So we're really happy that you guys invited us in to talk about our programs. We could go on for hours and hours. Hopefully we didn't go over time, but thank you for the opportunity to come and share about our programs because I know we both take a lot of pride in it. And we'll talk to anyone about it who wants to listen. So, thank you.
Thank you.
No, and thanks for doing that every week. And I mean, the thing you don't say is you're at every basketball game, you're at every home event that we have out there, wrestling, whatever. The coaches too, not just girls there. I mean, so that's a lot of nights that you're there. So thanks, and all the youth program stuff you do, that's awesome. All the bags you put together and the kids you get to take away. So yeah, thanks for everything extra that you guys do for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, you give me a hand?
And we have to get back to practice, so.
Thank
Thank you
for
guys.
coming.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't have practice, but I have a 4-year-old today.
Who has her own little mini dance team sweatsuit as well.
Oh. I'm telling you, that could be a fundraiser, sell those, very popular.
I know.
I should do it.
All right. Next item, certification drills, Jesse?
Yep. So I'm here, so part of our requirement is to just give you guys some updates on our annual safety drills that we completed this fall. So way back in September 29th is when we started our week of safety drills. So that week starts out, we partner with Officer Kerber. And so that professional learning day on the 29th, he worked with all of our staff in each building, so elementary, middle, and high school, separate, to just kind of review our ALICE protocols. So our safety drills, kind of giving a recap for staff that have had it every year, but then for new staff too, to learn about kind of what are our procedures, what's kind of the overall intent of ALICE, and how do we kind of go through, it sets the stage for the week of practicing the safety drills. Over the years, we've done it a little bit different. Last year, my predecessor, they used to spread it out once a month, but then they condensed it into 1 week. This last two years ago, I guess. And so this year we kept it with that model, kind of based on some of the feedback that we got. So again, starting with Officer Kerber on Monday, reviewing that with staff, and then basically every day that week, staff goes through, depending on the level, so the elementary level, they're often like reading books or watching some videos at a developmentally appropriate age. Middle school, teachers are working with their advisory, middle and high school, on each of the skills. So Tuesday, they're working through the alert procedures. Wednesday is when they reviewed counter. Thursday, they reviewed lockdown, and then that's when they actually practice like the barricades in their rooms. And then Friday is when we did the whole school evacuation drills. So that's kind of a rundown of what the week looked like. Again, there's videos, or classroom teachers are kind of going through that to explain it to their students. And then they're practicing and kind of having conversations. There are different tabletop discussions, questions, kind of all of those things throughout the whole week. After that is wrapped up, I sent a survey out to all staff to get together feedback of like, you know, what's going well, what do we feel like we need some more information on, kind of those kinds of things. One piece of data highlights that I think is really great, because we have kind of gone through ALICE for so many years. 100% of staff in all 3 buildings felt that they were comfortable with their knowledge of ALICE. So, you know, other areas that we still need to focus on. So wrapping up that week, October 3rd, we met as a district-wide safety team, and really just tried to look at, you know, taking into how did the week go, what are some other things that we need to focus on, kind of started that discussion for planning for this year and then next. So we'll reconvene that group again in January to kind of talk through some of the next steps and kind of things that came out of that survey. So some of the focus areas that came out of the survey is really looking at, we're gonna revamp and kind of make a more robust reunification process. So kind of taking that to the next level. One of the things that a lot of teachers and staff had some feedback on are we're practicing these drills, you know, pretty much in the mornings in advisory, but also kind of taking it to that next level of during some of the unstructured times, or when we're at lunch, or at the high school if we're in some of the flex spaces. So practicing more frequently with our students in some of those other areas as well. Looking at our communication systems, so especially when the lockdown button is pushed, how we are able to communicate with our staff. So kind of fine tuning that and coming up with a very specific process so all staff kind of have it, know it, and practice it. That's kind of one of the biggest things, is making sure you are comfortable kind of going through those steps. Some other feedback, exploring some different kind of easy to use window coverings. Again, middle and high school, that was a lot of their feedback for different areas that are feeling kind of more exposed. And then updating some of our training videos. So that is a recap. Do you guys have any questions? Considerations? Okay. That's it.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jesse.
yeah, absolutely.
And so when you come into a district as a superintendent, one of the issues that you have on your mind right away, okay, let's figure out what's going on for school safety. And the work that Jesse's done, and now we've kind of partnered Jesse and Ron because you've got facility stuff that involves school safety as well as the student side. They do a great job, and I think everything Jesse just described plays into this, the idea of normalizing the conversation. You want to have the conversations frequently enough where it's not out of the ordinary, and they're comfortable small conversations as opposed to like a few big scary conversations. And that's what this system is about, having the conversations regularly, fine-tuning some things, but then also a few larger scale improvements that we're looking at. But you do a great job with that.
All right, thank you. All right, next item is reports. Listening session, there was no one at the listening session, so then I'll just leave right in Dave for the superintendent update.
All right, so we have a couple of referendum invoices in there. I'll skip over the conversation, you've seen those, we are closing it down. The reason I'm skipping over that, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into contingency, which is an agenda item I have on here later, because we are to that point now, closing everything up, and there's some contingency dollars that are left. There's very specific rules on what you can spend those on, that's what we'll talk about. The larger conversation is the 26-27 district calendar. I apologize if you clicked on it earlier, I had the wrong link in there, so it was linking to a earlier draft. The one that is in there now is accurate. If you remember, we brought the school calendar to the board the last time we met. There was some good feedback, and we took that feedback and made some adjustments. One of the challenges was, can we create a calendar that would allow us to have kids get done before Memorial Day? And we were able to do that. It took some finagling. I was just kind of joking around with Jesse. Not my favorite thing to do, working on school calendars. It's so easy to get lost in the detail, and we've had to go back and re-correct this so many times. But I think we've got it down now. And this was a responsibility I had in my previous district. I didn't like it there either, so. But I think we've got it. We put in the version that wouldn't eventually be published, where it has the student and the staff counts. So the days are totaled. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see the total. There's some things that are important to know about those totals. One, certified staff, their contract is for 192 days. That includes 3 holidays, which we had to hunt down the history on that, but it's 3 holidays, so that brings it down to 189. Then you add all the student days, the professional learning days, and what's different here, in order to make this work, we had to take some days that in this year's calendar would have been professional learning and convert those to student contact days. So we needed that student contact throughout the school year. In order to do that, we converted 2 of those professional learning days to flexible days. We did that on this calendar. We had the flexible days. On the one we're operating now, it was to get next week to be a full 2 weeks, where families would have that full 2 weeks off. That's how we use professional learning, or the flexible learning days, in this calendar. The upcoming calendar, we're looking at a little more flexibility, where we're not highlighting like the day it has to happen. Instead, teachers will submit proposals for how they'll satisfy the requirement for that time. All teachers create what's called an SLO, it's a student learning objective, and along with that, a PPG, some more 3-letter acronyms, they're all over the place in education. The PPG is the professional practice goal. Thank you, Jesse. And what that is, it's the plan to achieve the SLO. What we're recommending is that teachers tie those flexible days to achieving that SLO. Creates alignment. The SLO will be aligned to the school goal, which is aligned to the district goal, and then it's not an additional thing. It's giving them time to really dig in on what we've already established as our primary goal. So that's where we'll be going with those 2 days. That on the version you will see when we bring this for approval in an upcoming meeting, it will have the professional flexible days noted. One thing that's important to note, this calendar requires 2 minutes of additional instructional time per day. That sounds kind of ticky-tacky, but the reason we have to do that, in the state of Wisconsin, there used to be a requirement for a number of days and a number of hours. Several years ago, Wisconsin dropped the days. That's no longer, it doesn't matter how many days you have, as long as you meet the instructional hours component. By making these changes and trying to get done before Memorial Day, We couldn't do it in a reasonable calendar unless we got rid of one more day and then converted that to slightly extended days. The elementary, that's super easy to do because it's just 2 more minutes within a block of time. High school, middle school will have to pinpoint where those times will be because you can't add like 30 seconds per period. You gotta land on the minute, but we're coming up with a plan to make the most use of those 2 minutes. Believe it or not, it makes a difference. Like a few minutes a day really makes a big difference. With a school calendar or a school schedule, there's always more you could do, right? But you gotta be reasonable, you gotta find that sweet spot. The contract that our teachers have at that 192 is right kind of at the top end of most of our comparables. There aren't very many districts that have more days than that, most have a few fewer, which makes me comfortable allowing for that flexibility. It's not like we're gonna create a calendar that's not reasonable or not aligned to what we see with our comparable districts. One thing to note, we went through this with the calendar we're operating under now. We have to be clear that the first compulsory day of attendance would be on that September 1st. Those jumpstart days are not officially required, but very important, and they certainly help kids succeed. But those technically count as summer school.
And we receive funding for
We
that.
do receive funding for that, yep, it counts into our FTE calculations. The other significant change is that graduation in this current calendar is 2 weeks before the last day. That is a practice that we need to shift, so it is 1 week. So seniors will still have a full week where they'll graduate, everyone will come back to school, there'll be 1 week, but not 2 weeks. That's the recommendation, and I think it's important that we would follow that. That's one I don't think we have a lot of wiggle room. I really think we need to make that change. So that is a quick overview of the calendar. What questions or feedback do you have?
I'm glad that graduation is not 2 weeks ahead. That has been a issue in the past, especially at the high school level, because you have those classes that are mixed with juniors and seniors, and, you know, how do you have the final exam, and what do you, so I'm glad that
Good.
it's only 1 week instead of 2.
We brought up, I think Bruce started it with the conversation of timing of conferences and sports and how this fall is kind of a challenge. Was that considered?
We did talk about it. It's one of those, it's probably easier to adjust on the athletic side, on the schedule, if we get this out soon enough. So to that point, our plan is to bring the calendar committee back together with a few additional folks. Elementary was sort of underrepresented on that team, and put together a proposed calendar for the 27-28 school year and have it set. We won't bring it to the board for approval, we'll bring it to the board for feedback and review, and then the minute we have the approval from or the day for the ACT exam, I'll bring the calendar back for approval. That will give everyone plenty of time to schedule around conferences as opposed to scheduling our academic stuff around athletics. We want to make sure we've got it going in the right direction.
Right, and this isn't for approval tonight?
Correct,
right?
we'll bring it back in January.
Right. Okay,
Then we are at construction contingency. So, as I said, we are close to wrapping up all of our projects. PAC still has a few outstanding issues. One specifically is the stage floor. We're still working through some stage floor issues. There were some installation issues and some corrections that need to be made. There's, Market Johnson's doing a good job advocating for us because they're in a little bit of a battle to make sure we get this resolved favorably for us. Essentially, we want to make sure there's no cost to the district for the reinstall or for whatever the remedy is for that stage floor. But what that does, it pushes back all of the closeout because we don't have final numbers, guaranteed final numbers. We think we know relatively certainly what we'll have left for contingency dollars. As I said, you can't, we can't spend contingency dollars that were left over from this project, say on the middle school, because that wasn't part of the most recent project. Very specific, they have to be part of what that overall referendum question originally stated. There's enough latitude in there where we can make sense of the decisions. I've mentioned this before, we're not in a position financially to be purchasing bells and whistles. The budget is too tight. Every dollar is super important. So we want to make sure that we're making purchases that either we would have done anyway or are so important that we wouldn't be able to do in the future without this opportunity to have a few more dollars available. This is a bit of an estimate, but I think about $140,000 in contingency dollars that we'll spend down. One of the big items that we will be bringing forward, we'll bring this back in January, would be a utility vehicle. Right now, we have a Gator. It's shared between athletics and buildings and grounds. It's old and in rough shape. I mean, it's on its last legs. Looking at a utility vehicle that would certainly fall within the scope of the project, that will be used, shared for athletics when they have to traverse the entire campus, but then also for buildings and grounds, for things like transporting equipment, moving things, some light snow removal, that sort of thing. It is something that was on the list to purchase anyway, and it was on the wish list that you've seen before, but it's kind of a big ticket item, so I wanted to make sure that I brought that forward to you before we make that purchase.
Can it also be used for security, Gator?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, anytime, I mean, we're blessed to have a campus where we're all here, but because of that, there's some acreage. You know, we've got some distance to move, so absolutely could be used for that as well. Good question. Any other questions on the construction contingency?
Okay, anything else, Dave?
Nope, we have the financial reports, which, those are the standard financial reports. Enrollment reports, not much change between last time and this time. Things are starting to settle down a bit. You know, we told you that even the first big benchmark is when we get to our Friday count. And there's a lot of change before that. We're still seeing a little change. It's primarily kind of balancing out between ins and outs, but no big swings one way or the other. There's some really good news in the community that is going to point to some modest growth. There are a lot of housing units that are being planned right now, and I think at a price range that will be favorable to young families. So we're excited about that, and certainly want to be able to partner with our municipalities to support reasonable growth whenever possible, because it's good for all of us.
All right, anybody have any other questions? The superintendent report? All right, next item for approval, early graduation. Take a motion for that option, if anybody.
I'll make a motion to approve the early graduation applications for the class of 2025.
Lori with the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Steve with the second.
Oh, this must be for 2026.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be, yeah. you
I
can't-
mean, they're yeah, because it
They're
would still be
graduating.
at the
It's a-
semester, so
Type.
it's January.
Matt brought up last time, Dave, did you get a chance to look into how often this happens anywhere else?
Yeah, so I did talk to the Middle Border Conference. It's about the same as ours. It's not necessarily every year, but it's certainly not infrequently, and it's almost always the same set of circumstances. A student that has a definite plan. It's a student that I feel that we did our job, families did their job, they know what they want to do, and they're set and have a good solid plan moving forward. But it can be from any number of things. Not, I wouldn't say the majority of the time, but military is one that will pop up where they want to get on a cycle to get basic training done early, so they'll graduate early if military is in their future. But the most often is going on to a four-year school where they either want to work that semester to save up some money, or they're gonna get a jump start because they know exactly where they wanna go and what they wanna do. So, the process that we go through, I'm comfortable that the students that we bring forward, it makes sense. It's a good plan for them.
All right, any other questions or discussion on that item? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, congratulations to them. Great. Consent agenda, we don't have any personnel update for executive activities or just the regular personnel item, so I'll take a motion to approve the rest of that from anybody.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 17th, December 1st, the board bills, and the 2 donations as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, with a second.
I'd like to thank the Lions Club for their donation to the dance team. And also, thank you so much to Matt for his generous donation to the ski club. Without his donation, 20 Somerset School District students would not have been able to ride the bus to Trollhagen. And we still have room on the bus, if anybody wants to join.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, general information, we'll have a meeting on January 5th, when we come back from break that Monday. And then we'll have the regular session on the 19th with a listening session 30 minutes prior. I guess, go around district celebrations. Ian, I'm gonna start with you.
I will, I think you said it very well. Thank Tasia, Anna, Devin, and Emma for their hard work and congratulate all of their student athletes on a great job. And wish everybody a great Christmas vacation and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Ian. Matt?
I'm gonna echo what Ian said, he beat me to it. I wish everybody a great break, and thanks to all the activities that people put so much time into in our district.
All right, thanks, Matt. Steve?
All right, thanks Jessica and Dave for the safety, for being diligent with safety and continuing with safety drills, safety assessments, and just school security. So looking at improvements along the way, that's fantastic. Thank you.
I love the dance and cheer presentation, it's great stuff. I've had kids in that, and also thanks to the generous donation for the Trollhagen bus. The kids are loving that, and thanks to Lori for all she does with that program. Merry Christmas.
Lori?
Dress-up days at the elementary, and Bruce, you are right in style with what's going on at the elementary school with dress-up days. The middle school students raised $2,300 for our Somerset Food Pantry with their coin drive. And we've got several home events this week. We've got a boys basketball game at home tomorrow. We've got a girls basketball game at home on Thursday. We have a big wrestling invitational on Friday, and another home basketball game on Monday, the 22nd during break. Make sure you buy 50/50 tickets and support scholarships. If you have a high school senior, winter break is a great time to get that application completed. This one application provides access to multiple scholarships, 54 of them last year, for a total of $88,500. So please make sure that your high school senior is getting that application completed. The deadline for turning it in is February 1st. Thanks.
Okay.
The holiday shop in the elementary school last week was a great success, and the parent group did an amazing job, and there's so many volunteers that really help out a lot and put in a lot of time and energy, and the decor was amazing, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and everybody said, enjoy your weeks off for Christmas break. And then, again, continue to use the PAC, the auditorium. I think the kindergartners had their presentation, their holiday concert last week. It was great. Everyone seemed very excited to be there. It was awesome event, awesome showing. So thanks for all the staff who made that happen and everybody who came and attended. And then, yeah, there's Lori already hit on all the events happening, so show up, support. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Corey, do a second?
Second.
Steve, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned at 6:45. Thanks, everybody.
Time for the concert, look at that. All right, have a great Christmas, everyone.